Before I start this podcast, I just want to mention that I'm expanding the podcast from being just a Godzilla podcast to a Kaiju podcast, pretty much like anything Kaiju related. Um, I'm not 100% guaranteeing I'm going to talk about these topics, but for example, like say King Kong Gamera, Kaiju number 8, even Attack on Titan. Yeah, enjoy the podcast. What's up, guys? Godzilla Man here, and today I'm doing a podcast finally, and it's going to be about Zarkorr the Invader. So, Zarkorr the Invader is I believe, yeah, I would say direct to like VHS and DVD monster movie that was inspired by Godzilla, but it's not Godzilla. So, the plot is kind of crazy, okay? I'll give you like just a basic rundown, then we'll go into like why it's weird. Then I want to say my past with the movie and the monster action. I'm going to be different here. I'm going to start with the basic plot. Then I'm going to talk about my past with the movie, the monster action, and then I'll get into like my thoughts on the plot and getting a little more deeper into things here. So the basic plot is aliens create a monster and they bring it to Earth and wake it up, and they find this man. I'm so bad with names. Let me look on the Wikipedia for his name. I'll link it. Tommy Ward. So it's like a transmission to his brain, and like he can only see it, and it's like this young or fit on your table like small teenage girl, and she tells him that he is average out of everybody in the world. He is average, like they're half of the world is better suited to defeat this monster, and half of the world is the other half is not as good as he is at trying to defeat this monster. And she says that it's a test from the alien, or from this alien race, and like, or from these aliens, and that the key to defeating Zarkorr is within Zarkorr himself, and that's the monster's name. So he's watching the news about it, and there's an animal expert, and I guess he thinks the best course of action is to try to talk to this animal expert to get help, because they said, or the girl said, that he can get help from other people and things, but like he goes to the news station and he's a postal worker, so he kind of just somehow like casually gets into the building. I don't know, somebody was leaving and he kind of just went in and acted casual, like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna bring the mail kind of guy or whatever. And then he tries telling the animal expert, hey, I have to defeat this monster, and it's an alien, and pretty much tells her the whole story. And here on the Wikipedia it says Dr. Stephanie Martin. So got Dr. Stephanie Martin, and she doesn't believe him, so he pretty much kidnaps her until the cops come, and then the one cop believes him, ties up the other cop, helps him, and then he's telling them that, hey, no conventional weapons can stop Zarkorr, and they're listening to the radio, and the military is like, yeah, nothing is stopping this thing. And he's like, it's so crazy that this thing came out of nowhere. You yourself were saying, pretty much you yourself were saying that this thing is like impossible to exist because of how big it is. So wouldn't you think it's not out of the realm of possibility for me to be right? Whatever logic that is. But anyway, so she's like, okay, fine, I guess I'll help you. So she knows somebody that can help, I guess. A hacker. Okay. I think his name was Arthur. Yeah, his name was Arthur. So they go find Arthur, and I don't know, I guess he hacks into a whole bunch of stuff to see where Zarkorr was when he woke up. Just like weather patterns or other things to see what was going on in the area. I don't know, they're talking about, I don't know. And yeah, so they're trying to figure out what's going on with this monster, and they go to where the monster first woke up. They find this half dome looking thing, almost looks like a shield like thing, and then Tommy ends up facing the monster, and he uses his eye lasers, and he shields himself, and the shield reflects his eye lasers back at the monster, and it kills him. So, or he disappears and turns into sparkly things go in the air. I don't know, it's a weird movie. So yeah, that's the basic plot. Not your average monster movie, but definitely something that is so bad that I love it. Okay? It's so bad that I love it. So anyway, my past with the movie. My dad had it in his like VHS slash monster movie collection. By the way, I don't think you can hear it, but it's very windy outside, so that's what you hear if you hear wind or noise. Anyway, me and my dad, well, my dad got me into Godzilla, and he had a collection of movies, and then I got movies over time too, so we both had like a Godzilla movie collection, but we had some other things. We had Gamera, King Kong, but then there's this Zarkorr the Invader. I'm like, okay, whatever. So pop in the VCR, watch it as a kid, and honestly, Zarkorr used to scare me. Maybe not to the point where like I couldn't sleep, but I thought he was kind of creepy. And his I think his suit is really cool. With his big horns and his big teeth and just the way he looks. I mean, I don't know. He looks like lizardy, dragony kind of, in a sense and stuff. And I just think that the monster suit's really cool. Also, they used, if you look on like online or on YouTube, I think they have some behind the scenes. Which, if that is a special feature, I'd like to find the DVD of Zarkorr and maybe see if I can have that and own that because I just have the VHS. I still have the VHS tape that my dad used to own, and it was an interesting watch because I mean it could be the VCR because it's old, but I think the tape is getting old, and towards the end it was kind of cutting in and out a little bit. Towards the beginning, everybody's faces looked a little bit like orangey. I don't know, so it might be the tape wearing out, but it's an old VCR too, so I don't know. It looked like on YouTube somebody opened one up and it looked kind of easy to get into, so I'm like, hey, maybe I could just pop it open and clean it out or something. Be a lot, probably a lot better than one of those old. I used to use those old cleaning tapes, but I mean, I could open it and actually get the dust out. But anyway, that's neither here nor there, as some people say. But yeah, so I think that the monster suit looks cool, but as a kid, I thought it was pretty creepy. They have, like, you know what? You could cut this out. You could cut this out, but I just want to see if they have Zarkorr. Here it is. The creation of Zarkorr the Invader, yes. Okay, so it was like, I'll link all this. So it was a suit, it was like they had a whole set with miniature, like a miniature city, they had miniature cars, miniature, all that kind of stuff that, was like an old Godzilla movie, which is really charming and really cool in my opinion. And just shows, the passion for that type of monster movie, you know what I mean? The suitimation, because really nowadays we don't have that anymore. And don't get me wrong, I love the MonsterVerse, I love -1, I love Shin, Godzilla, whatever. But Final Wars was really in the end of an era, or the end of the era of the suitimation. Unless maybe you consider Gamera the Brave. I'd have to look into that. I do have Gamera the Brave in my Gamera 4K Blu-ray box set that I got, and has a whole bunch of special features, so maybe I'll check it out, or I could just look online, because I don't know, I think Gamera the Brave came out after Final Wars, and I'm not sure if it was people in suits or not. So if it wasn't, I guess technically Gamera the Brave was, but Godzilla Final Wars is more well known, so that's more of like the send off. As Final Wars, Godzilla goes off into the ocean, turns around and roars at the end. That's like the end for the old school style monster movie. But that's cool how Zarkorr in the 90s, tried to do that. They did a lot of night shots, probably to make it look a little more realistic, but with the slowed down kind of looking like he's lumbering and stepping on things and stuff. And I mean, of course, if you look closely, you could tell they're toy cars, but still, the destruction of the stuff does look like a monster just breaking buildings and stuff. And sometimes it is a little cheesy because Zarkorr like knocks something over and then they have like explosions coming out that is like, well, he didn't even, how did he even do that? But they're probably doing that just to make the city just or buildings actually be destroyed or make it look cool. And like the scene where there's explosions, Zarkorr starts roaring and stuff, you know what I mean? It looks awesome. I mean, it just, to me, I love it. It just is sad that most of the movie isn't monster action. It's these goofy characters trying to figure out how to stop them. They also put this in the description too. At least for YouTube, I should specify that if I ever put this on like Spotify or other podcasting platforms, I don't think I could put a description, so you kind of have to look up yourself then the making of Zarkorr the Invader, and the next thing to look up is Zarkorr the Invader, just the monster scenes on YouTube. But for YouTube though, where I'm gonna put this first, I'm gonna have the links in the description. So I thought there was one that was called just the monster scene, but I could find was destruction scene. So it's about 5 minutes. 5 minutes of footage. But yeah, so I'm disappointed that they didn't have more monster scenes. I mean, this wasn't really a high budget movie, so I mean, I can't necessarily blame them, I guess. But it would be cool to see more monster action and stuff like because it was really cool, you know? It was like a different monster that's not Godzilla destroying the city, you know what I mean? It's cool to see. And plus Zarkorr's eye lasers, looked like that low budget it was like low budget special effects, but it looks like I don't know. It's like I don't know if this makes any sense, but it almost looks like retro in a sense, like the way his eye lasers look low budget. I guess I don't know if that makes any sense, but I think they're cool, and I think that's a cool. You know what I mean? Instead of him like breathing fire or something, you know what I mean? Shooting lasers out of his mouth, it's something that I don't see a lot of monsters do. He's like Supermaning it. You know what I mean? So I would say you could tell that the monster scenes are a guy in a suit and they're miniatures, but since the scenes are low, at night, it looks pretty. No, I wouldn't say it looks 100% realistic, but it looks pretty like action packed and enjoyable. And the way they do the scenes, you know, the way they had Zarkorr slowly stepping on things, knocking buildings over, the explosions with him roaring, him shooting his eye lasers. It all looked really, for it being like a low budget movie, it was pretty enjoyable and really cool to watch, if that makes sense. I'm trying to just get better at my words instead of saying it's cool, you know what I mean? But so anyway, last thing I'm going to talk about just my thoughts on the plot. So I have it written down here, or typed out, I guess. So, first thing, it is wild. Yes, it is. Also, I'm like, why would aliens think that the main character seeing things would convince him that. Okay, that. I wrote this really quick, that makes sense. What I'm saying is, like, why would an alien think. Aliens that are probably more advanced than us think that, like, giving you a vision like that is gonna make you believe them unless they thought Tommy was somebody who would believe something like that. Because I mean, there are people that probably would believe that what they saw was real, but there's other people too that would be like, "Are you sure I'm not hallucinating?" You know what I mean? Like, why didn't they think, "Oh, he might think he's hallucinating. He might not take us seriously." I don't know. And yeah, I said too, even if he did believe them, which he did, wouldn't the aliens know that no one else would probably believe him unless they just don't care and they say, well, you're the one that has to defeat him, so everybody else is irrelevant. I mean, maybe. I don't know. And again, I said, why are they even testing humans? Like, yeah, for what purpose? They just act like, well, because he's like, aliens gotta, hire, somebody who's advanced gotta probably understands morals. Like, how is this moral? And she's like, well, we're superior beings, so your morals don't matter to her. Your morals you know, don't apply to us. And he's like, oh, that's an answer. But, like, why? Are they just, oh, let's see what happens? Like, I don't know. Let's see what else to say. Why? Yeah, why would the main character think that kidnapping an expert would be a good idea? I mean, sure, talking to the expert, I guess. I mean, he probably figures what else would he do, but he's trying to. I guess maybe he figures, well, she knows about different species. Maybe she would know how to kill it, but it's not that came out weird. Not the experts study killing them, but you know what I mean. Like she might know how organisms work and what would be its weakness. I don't know, but like this is an alien being that might it might not have anything related to human, might not have anything related to Earth animals. You know what I mean? So it's like okay, and it's like I know he's desperate, but like really, he thinks that like kidnapping her is gonna do anything? Like he literally said in the movie, when he's in the bathroom with her, like, yeah, he. Oh, I didn't explain that. He there were some security guards trying to stop him, and he had a gun. He found a gun, was holding her up, and got the one security guard to give him his gun. He's like, it's like, stop pointing the gun at me. Just kick me over the gun. I guess he did it. So now he has two guns. So then he takes her to a bathroom to hide, and then the cops come, and then that's when the one cop believes him. But he's like, oh, now, like, what did I get myself into? Now I'm gonna rot in a jail cell until Zarkorr comes and kills me and destroys the world. I'm like, yeah, like, you wouldn't think that before. Like, I know you're desperate, and I don't know. I mean, I guess if, some people are under so much pressure and fear from this thing coming and him being the only one, or you being the only one, maybe they're just kind of crashing out. You know what I mean? I guess. I don't know. But it's just silly. It's really silly. Let's see what else I say. But the cop believing him makes no sense. Even if he believed in UFO sightings and alien stuff, no one asked the biggest question. Why is he holding an expert hostage? Like, if he just goes to the police and he's just like, I need help, this alien spoke to me and said I have to defeat this monster, and somebody actually believed him, I mean, well, now that I think about it, obviously they probably put him in, they'd think he's probably, like, insane or something, but that would still be like, hey, he ain't doing anything illegal. He's more so, they probably just think he's more so wasting their time, or that he's just kind of insane or whatever. But now he's getting himself into a fiasco. You know what I mean? It's like, what? Like, they thought, it's fun. That's why I said it's so bad it's good. It's like, why would this be a plot of a monster movie? But it's so wild that it's just so entertaining to watch, I guess, even though some people probably argue it isn't. I find it entertaining. That's why I want to watch from the same people they make Craw the Sea Monster. I want to watch that too. I've never watched it before. I've been wanting to watch more monster movies. Also, I want to go back and watch the older King Kong movies. I have, I think, all of them. But anyway, that's a whole other topic for a whole other day. All right, what else do I have to say? Yeah, why, if she didn't believe him, he should have given up. I mean, it'd be weird enough that if he's like finding and following her around, but at least if he got into contact with her, he could just try to convince her and then given up or left to not make things worse if she didn't believe him. Once she does get sort of on board, she happens to know a hacker. I guess a hacker can get the info, but how would any info help with Zarkorr only being known for a short time? You know? I mean, I guess he thought, what else would I do? But it's just like, wouldn't you talk to somebody who knows, I don't know, how to beat a threat like that? Like, I don't know how you get in contact with them, but somebody who, like, I was going to say the military, maybe not the military, but like somebody who just would know how to, I don't know, maybe somebody who's been in the military, or somebody knows how to defend themselves, or just try to, I would say try to contact the military, but they probably wouldn't believe them. But I don't know. It's like, it just seems like an odd cast of characters to choose, but, or an odd person to choose. And he mentions something like he seemed like he was turned on, so there's an off switch. To me, that doesn't really make sense. How do they know there's an off switch? Because, oh, well, because they turned him on. Well, how do you know that it wasn't the aliens remotely waking him up? How do you know there's something there? To do that. Sure, they woke him up, but he already know that the aliens sent him there, created him, and probably were the ones to wake him up. Yep, there we go. Some of this I'm reading what I wrote down, but I'm also improvising it or adding to it. That's how I want to do things, you know? Less editing, but also putting my thoughts out so that I can be organized enough to make a podcast, essentially, and just talk. I like this. I like just talking. I really do. It's funny. I either am a very quiet person, or if I get to know you, I don't shut the heck up. So anyway, then somehow he gets them plane tickets. Why would they risk being seen unless the kidnapping wasn't know where they were going or the airport they went to? Maybe nobody knows that, yet. Maybe there was, you know what I mean? Maybe there's no news reports because of Zarkorr. Maybe there's no news reports saying madman kidnapped, local, animal expert or whatever. Yeah, okay. So anyway, how would they shut him off? I was like, they're kind of doing the I'll figure it out when I get there kind of thing. I guess going to the site could give him a clue, or he could find a clue. When they go, though, there happens to be a shield or cover that looks, like I said, that half dome looking. Why would the aliens let it drop in a building where people might take it away or mess with it? Oh yeah, so it crashed into a building, and the sheriff of the town sees our cast of characters and like doesn't ask them for credentials or who they are. They just think, oh yeah, you were supposed to come here to investigate this, huh? You're working with, I thought they said something like you were working with the government or FBI or something like that. And they're, oh, yeah, yeah, sure, yeah. So then this shield looking thing was, crashed into a building. I'm like, why would the aliens do that if when they know that people might carry it off or try to do something to it? I don't know. They tried to open it, but they couldn't. No, they couldn't figure it out. So once he got the shield looking thing, he's like, take me to the monster. So it's just like, what is he gonna do? He's like, he just had this attitude like, I got this. Like he's sitting in the back of Tommy's sitting in the back of the car, staring creepily, just saying, you know what I mean? Like when they're asking him, well, what are you gonna do? And he's just like, don't worry. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, is he just gonna wing it? Like, okay. Um, like, is he wanting to let Zarkorr attack him? Like, is he what? Then there's a roadblock to where Zarkorr is. Um, I don't know, unless Tommy figured that, because they said Zarkorr, that's another thing I forgot to mention. They said Zarkorr knows where he's at, and he's always gonna pretty much the course of his direction. Change direction, find Tommy, no matter where he goes. So maybe he figured no more running, but it's like, wouldn't you plan a little more before you meet face to face with Zarkorr? You could run away a little bit and buy some time, maybe. I don't know. I guess he figures nothing else he could do. Really? He couldn't get anybody else to help? I guess not, because no conventional weapons could stop it. But I would still think about it for a while. I don't know. So, yeah, there's a roadblock, and I said, why wouldn't they go back a back way or sneak around once they saw the roadblock, unless the whole town was surrounded? I don't know. Um, so they're like, yeah, so they were, the cast of characters were asked to get out of the car, and Tommy doesn't. He gets into the front seat. He's like, thanks for everything, guys, and rushes off and breaks through the roadblock. And because yeah, there was a cop that asked him to get out of the car, and so then he gets to Zarkorr, and by the power of plot armor, I call it, decides to challenge Zarkorr, and just happens to reflect his beam back to him. He walked up to Zarkorr before getting the shield. Yeah, I forgot he didn't have the shield; it was still in the trunk. And he's just walking up to him, and Zarkorr shooting his eye lasers at him, and he's like, just jumping away from it, and just, you know what I mean? Like if he was any closer, he'd get killed. Um, then at the end, oh yeah, so then he shoots, then he gets the shield and he holds it, and then happens to have the eye lasers reflect back to Zarkorr. And it seemed like it was kind of by accident. I don't know. It seemed like he was kind of just shielding himself. He thought maybe it would protect him, and then he's like, "Oh, okay, I guess it reflected." He's like, "All right, I'll keep it here," so he'll keep reflecting it. So then, anyway, at the end, he was in the hospital after passing out from Zarkorr being defeated. Everyone was happy, and I guess somehow saw that he beat him. Like, was anybody else around, or did the cops see? Maybe because he was there and he just, I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of just being, I don't know. Maybe there's a more obvious, I don't know. Um, Also, somehow, yeah, I said also somehow his kidnapping and other craziness was erased. And this news reporter that was in the hospital room with him said that there's a group of people that wants him to be president. Like, why saving the world means you're a good president, I don't know. I think in real life he would still be in trouble with the law, even after saving everyone, because he did kidnap someone. I don't think that just goes away. So, yeah, I mean, it was a wild story. Somehow it worked because, again, the power of plot armor. He's the main character, and he definitely has to win, I guess. I don't know. The plot is wild. It's not a good movie, in my opinion, when it comes to the story, but it is something that's so wild that I just like to watch it, because some things are just so goofy that I just want to watch it. You know? It's just funny. So, I don't know. I'm going to try to think of what else to say about this movie. It's been about a half an hour. This was one topic, so apologize for that. That's a text. I don't know, if I had more topics, I'd probably go on for longer, but so I guess I said everything that I wanted to say. You know, the monster action's fun. The plot is so bad that I like it. So I guess it's so bad that it's good, but is it really? I don't know. the main character has the power of plot armor. This happens everything happens for reasons, and somehow puzzles itself together to make a story that makes the hero win at the end of the day and save the world. And I guess kidnapping somebody, just whatever. Who? Okay, goes away. What about the cop that was tied up? What happened to him? What happened to the cop that was, in the cop that helped them? He was in there in the hospital room with them too, and they're probably just like, "Oh well, you're good. You're a hero too." It's like, dude, you just tied up your partner and left him there. Like, are you kidding me? Like, it's so, I don't know. I guess it's like you got to just watch it if you can handle getting through it. If you can't, because it's just so bad, then again, link in the description below for the video that just shows the monster action. You just watch that and then move on with your life if you want, not waste your time. I don't know. I'm the king of wasting my own time. Um, so yeah, I think that's really it, huh, Miku? I have a little Miku plushie with, I don't know, she doesn't think that there's really anything else to say. I said pretty much everything. Nothing really else happened in the movie. I kind of said all my thoughts. And the movie's only like an hour and a half anyway, so it's, not too crazy. So, yeah. If you liked, I hope you enjoyed. I hope I made sense. I hope I didn't just say it's good because it's good. I hope I articulated my thoughts in a well thought out way, and I hope that as I continue these podcasts, I continue to get better at articulating my thoughts in a review type way instead of just saying I like it because nostalgia or I like it because it's action packed. Like, okay, not that that's not valid, but I just want to get more in depth on why I think something is the way that it is. Why do I think Zarkorr the Invader is one of the most wild, if not the most wild movies I've ever seen? Because the plot makes no sense to work to, you know what I mean? The plot is so wild that it's like, how did the pieces come together for the main character to even get to the point where he could beat Zarkorr, with him kidnapping people and talking to a hacker that can get information from a monster that they just discovered like yesterday. You know what I mean? It's just like how he could, like how he could not die from the eye lasers and jump right out of the way right in time and be lucky, and how things at the end got erased, like he didn't have to do any time for, or be in trouble for kidnapping somebody, and the cop that helped them didn't seem to have anything happen to him from, you know, tying up and leaving his partner in the bathroom. Oh my lord. So, yeah, it just, that's why I think it's wild, because the plot is off the rails. I don't know, am I saying? I'm just surprised that, you know what I mean? Like, you definitely tell it's like the power of plot armor, and it's a goofy story that they just made work, because not that this is supposed to be a realistic movie, it's just in any realistic sense, there's no way that it would have went like this. He would have been put in jail for trying to kidnap somebody, and then Zarkorr would have killed everybody. And then the plot doesn't make sense with why the heck is it not really answered why the aliens wanted to test humanity, why they picked the average human, unless they thought the average human would be just the best look at what an average person, I guess, yeah, because it's an average person. What's the average person gonna do? I guess that makes sense. But yeah, it's just like, why is Zarkorr there in the first place? That's not answered. How does the plot work? And how is that, like, I've never seen so much plot armor in my life. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I hope I articulated this enough, and I'm gonna call it a night. Uh, Hope you guys have a great rest of your day or night or whenever you're listening. Peace out.